All right, welcome. This is the fourth and final video in a series of videos I've been doing in which I rank tier list style the games that I played in 2021. And so if you want to check out those videos, they're all listed in the description below, and I will link to the first video in the series at the end of this video. And the way I broke it up is first I sorted games that I'd only played online. I hadn't played over the board. That was some, I don't know, 40 games or so. And then in the next two videos, I ranked the games that I played over the board, which was in the 60s, high 60s. So I wanted to split that into two different videos. Um, and this is the ranking now. In this ranking that's up on the screen, I went ahead and sorted both the online only games and the ones I'd played over the board and ranked them even within the tier from most liked to least liked. So this actually is this whole tier list I haven't presented yet. And actually, in between the making of the third video and the making of this video, I played two games over the board, Guillotine and Red Rising. And Red Rising I had ranked, but I figure, well, I have some updated thoughts about Red Rising, so Guillotine is a very light, classic game in which you have a line of cards, and some of the cards are worth points, and some of the cards are negative points, and you have these action cards that lets you manipulate within the instructions of the card, the order of the cards in the line. So it's a very tactical game. There's no strategy in it whatsoever. You're trying to figure out how can I get the most points, the least negative points this turn, and maybe I'm trying to do something that will make life difficult for my opponents. And it's a goofy game, fun, super easy to play. It's not deep enough for me to justify putting it on B tier, but it's too fun for me to put it any lower than kind of high C tier. And then Red Rising is a game that I had ranked in B tier, but I had one of those plays last night where I felt like I kept going around in circles and I wasn't getting the cards, and I wasn't able to use a strategy that matched my house, and it was slow because people were reading the cards and taking their time. So I had one of those plays where the problem side of Red Rising came out, and that made me realize because I'd made this comment that Viticulture was my lowest rated Stonemaier game. I thought, no, I can't rank this above Viticulture. I've never had plays like that of Viticulture. So I've decided to slot Red Rising in on C tier, change its ranking a little bit. Still like the game, still look forward to playing it more, but it's going to go behind Potion Explosion. Okay, so I mentioned that I've now ranked all of these within their tiers as well, combining the data from all of my videos. And just to give you some sense of how that ranking went, I'll hide the digital games right here so you can see where they popped in to the various tiers. In general, the higher ranked games in any tier are ones that I've played over the board. Usually it's because I own the games. I've selected the games because I like them. And maybe the games I've played online, I haven't played very much, and so I'm not quite as sure about where they're going to fall over the long haul. But I did discover some games online, Yokohama Teotihuacan, that I really, really like, and I imagine I may pick those up at some point. I would hope to get a chance to play those over the board. Arnak is another one that my friend just bought, so I think I'll be playing that over the board soon. Waterdeep and Stone Age I've played over the board before. I just didn't this in 2021, and I love playing those games over the board. So what I want to do for the rest of the video is show you the whole order from 1 to, I think, 110, where these games fell. And these aren't necessarily my ultimate opinion on these games. It's more like, in 2021, which games did I have the most fun with, and which games kind of failed as a result of those plays. So here are the S tier games: Terraforming Mars, Scythe, Paladins of the West Kingdom, Trajan, Concordia Salsa, the team variant, Yokohama Teotihuacan, Chess, Castles of Burgundy, Stone Age, and Lords of Waterdeep. The vast majority of these games are medium-heavy Euros that are engine builders, that have interlocking systems or mini games or something going on that I and a lot of variety that keeps you coming back and playing those games again and again. And a lot of these games have very good solo modes, especially Terraforming Mars, Scythe, and Paladins of the West Kingdom, that I play a lot. And I just am not getting tired of those games. So I think this is the evergreen list. This is the list that's likely to stay. That's the list of games that really matches my preferences for playing games. I guess the outlier on this list is chess, because it's not a Euro game, but it's a game that I play a lot online. Different time controls, lots of different people, strangers, I mean. So that's kind of an outlier, and maybe Stone Age and Lords of Waterdeep are a little less heavy than some of the other games on the list, but this reflects my preferences. The A-tier list: Tapestry, Marco Polo 2, Lost Ruins of Arnak, The Voyages of Marco Polo, Istanbul, especially with both expansions, Century Spice Road, Orleans, Beyond the Sun, King of Tokyo, Castles of Mad King Ludwig, Viscounts of the West Kingdom, and Wingspan. All great games. The vast majority of them are Euros, medium to medium heavy Euros. There's some lighter games on this list. I would say Istanbul's a little lighter. I would say King of Tokyo is not a Euro game. And Century Spice Road's probably a little bit lighter too. But for the most part, these are more of the types of games that hit my S tier. And they're all games I really, really like. I can't quite put them in that top category for one reason or another, but obviously things could move up over time as well. Now, my B tier, I didn't plan this, but my frequency of ranking games into the different tiers looks like a normal distribution, where I have a lot of B and C tier games and fewer S tier or F tier games, and I like the way that came out. But when I was ranking the list, it was all just intuitive. This is where I feel like this one goes. I don't know if it's worth it for me to read out all of these, but I will point out that the B tier kind of has three types of games. There are more of those Euros that I like, that medium complexity Euros like Architects of the West Kingdom, Roll for the Galaxy, Dinosaur Island, Porta Nigra, Newton, those sorts of games. That's one type of game. Then there's a second type of game, which is just really light games that I have too much fun with not to rank high, but I can't bring myself to rank them in the A tier if they're too light. So games like Luxor, Welcome to Nidavellir, Splendor, Escape, Curse of the Temple, Fantasy Realms, those are all kind of in that taboo, not deep games that I still have a lot of fun playing. And then the third category would be classic games that I have a lot of respect for, like Ticket to Ride, even Russian Railroads, I guess, would fall into that category, Carcassonne, Seven Wonders, games that I don't necessarily adore, but I understand why they sell so well and why other people love them so much. And then if they want to play them and they're having a good time, I'm happy to play those games too. And in particular, some of those games have really nice online implementations, Seven Wonders in particular, that makes it really fast to play. My C tier, I'd say the top of the C tier really could be B tier. Games like Space Base, Carnegie, San Juan, Hanabi, Azul, probably down to that far. They're very close to B tier games, and could move up into that category. Red Rising I had ranked as a B tier game. Potion Explosions is a pretty good game too. So this list again, it contains games that some games I just haven't played very often, like Deus, Railroad Inc., Paris Connection, Amiitis, Abyss. These are probably games that could, Kingsburg, Ecos, these are games that could go up as I play them more, or I could decide I don't like them, of course. But so there's a lot of uncertain games that I was uncertain about but somewhat optimistic about, I put on the C tier, or the end of the B tier. And these games tend to be a little bit lighter, or they tend to be cooperative, or they tend to be games that I haven't played much. Those are the kinds of games that ended up on C tier. There are some exceptions. I played a lot of Tokaido. I played a lot of Trekking the World. Played a lot of Potion Explosion. I own Azul. I own Space Base. So Yeah, this is kind of a hodgepodge of games, but they just tend to be games that I'm so on that for the most part I haven't played a lot or don't own. Now we get down to the D tier. The Island of El Dorado, New York Zoo, Vault Wars, Spy Connection, Pictionary, Call to Adventure, Airland and Sea, Set a Watch, Gangster City, Okaya, Codex, Agricola, and Trois Dice. I would say that this list is primarily games that I actually kind of like or admire, but feel like they have some flaw. Like, these are the games where I want to just tell the designers, spend a couple months and work out the problems in these games. El Dorado, Vault Wars, Pictionary, Set a Watch, those definitely fall into that category, and Spy Connection might as well. And Airland and Sea might as well. There's some good ideas in a lot of these games, but I just feel like they are half-baked for one reason or another. New York Zoo is probably fully baked and just not a game that interests me much. Gangster City, much the same way, just not my type of game. But that's the D tier. And then finally the F tier, in the contrast to the previous list. So the previous list is for the most part little games by little companies or first-time designers or something. Pictionary, obviously not, but that I just feel like need more work. The games on this list, for the most part, are big games that I just didn't get. And so the fault might be mine rather than the games, because they include games that a lot of people like, especially Trickerion, Race for the Galaxy, Res Arcana, and Lewis and Clark. And these are beloved games that I just had a terrible time with. I think I've rage quit 3 of the 4 online among friends, and not, I don't do that to strangers. And I hate when people do that in chess. Anyway, it's possible I would give Trickerion another try. And maybe Lewis and Clark another try, but I think I'm done with Race and Res. I just don't, those are not my style of game at all. Zombie Flux is just too chaotic. Star Trek Trivia Game is just too, I love Star Trek, and I'm good at trivia, but that needs work. That could be on the needs work list. And then Mahjong was just very random. So that's it, 110 games. Some of those games, like Terraforming Mars, I played 30 or 40 times in 2021. But 110 different games that I played in 2021. And overall, even though I did this kind of intuitively, I feel pretty good about the total ranking. So if you watched all 4 videos or 2 minutes of any one of the videos, I really appreciate it. And let me know in the comments below where I'm crazy, which games I should give more of a chance, or which games you agree with me on my positive feelings about. Thanks for watching.